What's up, everyone? All right, welcome to the daily recap. Yesterday, I locked up a solid green day, $38,000 in profit, but just after I finished trading, the stock that I had made the most on, GPUS, ended up squeezing up again, making this big move from $3 to $4, $5, $6, $7, ended up going all the way up to $9 a share, and then pulling back a little bit after hours. So I saw that. Naturally, I felt a little FOMO. I thought, oh man, if I had thought it was going to go so much higher, I might have kept trading a bit longer. But when I walked away at around 10 a.m., it really didn't seem like it was going to do too much more. So anyways, I was wrong, went higher. So that's good to see. Nonetheless, it's a good sign for momentum. So when I sat down this morning, I was looking for the next stock that I thought had the potential to make a similar move. And guess what? We got another 250% move during the pre-market session. Fantastic. Made the bulk of my profit on the day on that stock, but I traded 4 stocks. I'm green on all 4 and had a couple nice wins on a few other stocks that are also up quite a bit on the day. So let's go ahead and jump on the screen share and start breaking it down. Okay. So as we sit right now, you can see FOXO. This is the stock that made the biggest percentage move on the day. Currently up 146% and pulling back a little bit. Now, this stock had a little bit of a problem at the market open. And the problem is that because yesterday it closed below 75 cents a share, the halt bands are every 15 cents. So those are closer halt bands. In fact, so close that it makes it really difficult to trade. So FOXO, we'll go over this. Actually, let's not go over this one first. Let's go over GLMD first, since that was the first stock I traded. Although maybe we should look at KTTA first, because this is the stock that I did end up trading, but it made its move early this morning. So let's look at KTTA. All right. So sat down this morning. We didn't have a ton on the scans. MRIN had popped up, but kind of thought it was a little thickly traded, was already starting to pull back, so I didn't really put too much interest into that one. And then all of a sudden around 7 a.m., KTTA starts popping up, which was the same time that GPUS started popping up yesterday. So it made sense why traders were pretty quick to jump on this move. Now, here was my problem. It popped up to 240. It pulled back. It came up right here, and this was a pretty big pullback. It goes to 240. Dips down to 180, 40-cent drop on a cheap stock. Then it comes back up and it kind of grinds up here. But we had a problem. The 200 moving average on the daily chart was right around $3. And because of that, as it was coming up, I just kept thinking, well, the 200 is right there. I don't think it's going to really work. So I ended up leaving it alone and missing this entire move right here. So it goes from 220, 230, all the way up to 308. And I just said, no, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. And then finally it pulls away right here. It breaks right in this area. Where is it? It's right here. Breaks over 3. And that, did give a nice move. That gave a squeeze up to 326. And then this was actually the last stock I traded just this morning as we got this little squeeze right here. And it does seem like it wants to go higher, but I feel like it's getting really choppy. So when we look at the level 2 on this, you can see 48, 75. So you get that quick break, but then right back down to 50. So this has been sort of typical today where we're getting these topping tails where it breaks and then it dips back down. And it doesn't mean you can't make money on it, but man, you've got to be really quick. And I just feel like I'm kind of, I don't know, I just am not liking those topping tails. What I prefer is when something is so strong that it makes those quick pops, pulls back just for a moment right underneath the high, and then pushes for another pop, and then pulls back right underneath the high, and then pushes for another pop. And this is popping, but pulling back a bit more than I'd like. And then pops and then pulls back a bit more than I like. So I have a harder time managing risk when we had those bigger whips. It just throws me off. So anyways, my trades at the open didn't really add any considerable profit. So at that point I said, I feel like I'm taking unnecessary risk. I'm not getting the reward for it. And it's only a matter of time before one of these, I get on the wrong side and lose 20, 30 cents with, 15,000 shares. And I'm feeling a little bit bummed out. So right now I'm sitting $29,800 on the day, $10,000 less than I made yesterday, but sitting in great shape, up 68,000 on the week. Let's see, and last week was around, I think it was 70,000 Monday or Thursday and Friday. So I'm like $140,000, something like that on the month of May. So really in a great position here. And those of you guys that have been doing the 2-week trial, you've been getting to kind of experience this in real time and watch me put my strategies on display. So I'll again put the link for the trial for those of you guys who haven't done it yet. 2 weeks for $20, give you a good sense of what it's like to be a member of our community and use this software that I'm using every day, which is Day Trade Dash. So KTTA, not particularly rewarding for me. Only made $449 on it. Was late to break the ice on it, and then these trades at the open didn't really add considerable profit because it just kept chopping me out. So while I think it may go higher, I don't know that it's going to become easier to trade. I don't know. We'll see, but I just feel like after a couple of break-even, borderline close call trades, you kind of want to get out while the going's good and not get smoked. But that's always a challenge, knowing when to walk away. Am I leaving money on the table, or, am I going to keep trading and potentially get back profit? I don't know, but I've got almost $30,000 more than I had 3 hours ago. So I think that's a pretty solid day. So, all right, well, the profit didn't come from KTTA. Where did it come from? All right, so let's look at GLMD. This is the first stock I traded. After missing KTTA, when GLMD hit the scanners this morning, I jumped in it pretty quickly. So we'll look at the 10-second chart on this one. And by the way, on KTTA, one of the things that's also been a little bit of a challenge has been seeing 50,000, 75,000, 100,000 share sellers lined up. Right now, there's a 100,000 share seller sitting at 4. So, we keep seeing these bigger sell orders, which, are throwing me off a little bit. So anyways, GLMD pops up, pulls back, pops up, pulls back. I got in right here at about 168, 170, pops up to 210 right there. That was enough to make $3,300 of profit. It dips down, pulls back, and then I don't get another trade on it. It started to curl back up. I was watching it, but again, starting to do that same thing of popping and then dipping down, popping and dipping down. I don't like that. Coming into the open, I was sort of watching it again, but didn't end up getting any more trades on it. So GLMD was one quick trade. Wasn't really pleased with it. Was hoping it would go a lot higher than that. So I was like, all right, I missed KTTA, and then I just got this tiny winner on GLMD. Then next trade, FOXO. FOXO, this one, biggest percentage gainer of the day, squeezes up here to a high of $1.90, pulls back down to $1.30. And so where did I jump in it? Well, I actually jumped in it in the middle of the move right here as it broke $1.50. I said, you know what? This thing is so strong right now. I'm going to get in at 150, looking for the break of the $0.50. Stop is 140. It squeezed up to 160, 170, 180, took some profit. It dips back down. It comes back up, pulls back for a second right here. This ended up being the basis of an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And boom, took that trade right there with some bigger size. Breaks 170, squeezes up to 180, 190, $2. Micro pullback goes up to 210, hits a high right here of 222. That's pretty impressive. So that move right there was where I really crushed it. And I pulled $19,000 of profit out of the stock just in that little window. So this inverted head and shoulders, this essentially is a squeeze up and a micro pullback or a bull flag. So that was the pattern that we got right there. Was very pleased with that. That was clean. Goes higher and then starts to consolidate. I was still looking for that stock that might go up, like $2 a share or more, like what we had yesterday on GPUS. But, this made a big move, but not that big. All right, so got a bunch of trades on FOXO and then was back to sitting tight when AREB hits the scanners. Now, AREB, we traded last month in April, made this really big move here from like $2 all the way up to 20. Then it pulled back. It's been going sideways, and then today comes out with some news. So because the market has been so hot, I thought, now maybe I should go ahead and jump in this. So I ended up taking my first trade right around here, got in, got out, basically break even. Wasn't a good trade. Then right here, it curls up and I got back in right there for the break of 350, adding for the high day break at 360. And we squeeze up to 370, 375, 380, micro pullback. I add there. We get the squeeze up to 4. Right up at 4, I take some profit off the table, dips down, pops back up to 4, dips down harder, and then pops back up. Here was something interesting. Right in this area here, we had a big buyer. So there was a big buyer kind of holding it up right around 4. And then when that buyer broke, it was sort of all over. But you know what? That buyer ended up becoming a seller right up here at like the same level. So kind of some weird price action, similar to what we saw yesterday on GPUS. Nonetheless, was able to pull some profit out of AREB and then finished the day with those last trades on KTTA. So, in total, I squeezed as much as I could out of the day. I'm trying to be aggressive when the market's hot. I don't want to be walking away too early. On the one hand, I do feel like KTTA has more potential. On the other hand, I'm in the Caribbean. I didn't come down here so I'd sit on my computer all day long. I want to get in, get green, and make as much as I can during the window when I typically do best. If there's something really strong and I'm continuing to make money, I'll continue to trade basically until I stop making money and give back 10% off the top. Today, the last 2 or 3 trades on KTTA stalled out, stopped making money, was taking 12, 15,000 shares on those trades though, so was risking anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, maybe a little bit more, and got nothing to show for it. So those feel like close calls. And maybe this pulls back on a 5-minute chart and you do get some more patterns on it. I could definitely see that happening, but I think I'm going to be grateful for what I pulled out of the market today and come back and do it again tomorrow. So my average here for the month of May, my daily average has been really high, 38,000 yesterday, 30 today. So averaging $35,000 this week. And now I'm trying to remember what I made on Thursday and Friday. I had pretty solid days, both Thursday and Friday. Well, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and pull up the reports and take a look. So on Thursday, I was up 33,000, and Friday, I was up 40,000. So averaging about $35,000, a little bit more than that, 36,000 on those 2 days. So I'm averaging a solid $35,000, $36,000 per day right now in May 2025. This is a fantastic start to the month. So sitting at close to somewhere $140,000 on the month, and today's only day 4 for May. So, that certainly is something to be excited about. Looking at the calendar here, or we can look at it on this level. So here we go. So monthly performance, 100K a month, or sorry, 100K a week has been my kind of goal in order to have $400,000 months. Hit it in January, beat it in February, came up shy in March. And then April, wow, 474. So here we are before importing trades from yesterday and today, already at 73. So still have that goal of being around $400,000 on the month. That has me tracking around 4.85 million for the year. That's my goal. I still have a $5 million goal for 2025. And the fact is, if I'm able to do it, it's not going to be the result of one big home run trade. It's going to be the result of showing up every single day, chipping away at base hit after base hit. So this is over $16 million of trading profit. But if we just look at year to date, not including yesterday and today, I'm at 1.6 million. And my biggest winner is 33,000. So, potentially having a $5 million year where my biggest single trade is only, $30,000, $40,000, it just shows you that profit is a result of taking hundreds and hundreds of trades. Thousands of trades ultimately by the end of the year is what I'll have to take in order to hit that $5 million number. So I'm only a third of the way there. I've still got a lot of work to do. I've got to keep my head down, keep grinding away. And on days like today where I'm able to pull, $28,000, $30,000 out of the market in a couple hours, I got to be grateful for that. I don't want to overstay my welcome. I don't want to chase things. If things start slowing down and I'm not pulling more profit out, That's my cue. That's the writing on the wall to be grateful for what I've got and hit the road. So that's what I'm going to do. But don't worry, I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, streaming 7 a.m. For those of you guys doing the trial, for Warrior Pro members, Warrior Starter members, I'll see you tomorrow, 7 a.m. And man, I'm looking forward to checking the scans this afternoon and seeing what stocks held up and if KTTA pushed higher. But for right now, I'm going to be grateful for what I've got and just, yeah, that's what I have to say. This is the amazing thing about trading is, once you've got it, once you've got the skill, once you understand how to read charts, how to perform technical analysis, how to read level 2, it just starts scaling from there. The biggest thing that's going to hold you back is going to be up here. It's mindset. It's getting in the right headspace. So I'm going to put a link to a couple episodes I think you'll enjoy. A new upload from yesterday on how to read technical analysis on candlestick charts, where I highlight the different indicators that I use in my trading. And then a couple other long form episodes that I'll put over there and right there. So check those out. And a reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical. So please, please, please practice in a simulator before you ever put real money on the line.